I hope everything is going well with you. And in this session, I want to discuss about a very important topic. In this session, I am not gonna continue the work in our lovely fortress. Let me go back to the first floor. And I want to discuss about the farming issue, but I want to change the approach on how we dealt, how we manage the situation. Basically, what I wanna do is to stop here, use time machine, move back during the planning phase, and discussing with you how you can prevent the similar case like farm issue. Okay. Okay. So let's say this part didn't happen yet. We didn't start the work yet. We didn't dig into the mountain yet. We just finalized our plan. Okay. We have a concept. Let me copy paste, maybe copy paste, no need. Let me put a title here, all alternative scenario for farm issue. Okay. Alternative scenario for farm issue. Okay, what I want to do is to use time machine to move back to the planning phase. We're gonna come back and continue with the current progress, but I just want to move back a little bit, use a time machine, move back, and discuss about a very important topic in project management, which is risk management. And I want to discuss with you how could risk management can help you to prevent a case similar to the farm issues that we faced, right? How you could basically how you could find and how you could react, how you could plan for these scenarios. Let's say this was our project plan, right? Let's say still we are during our lovely planning. And maybe let me copy paste this. I want to copy paste. I don't want this. I don't want this one as well. I don't want this one. Right? This should be enough. Okay, I just want to have the WBS and the tasks. Where is our alternative here? Okay, so good, right? So this is not continuation on the main phase. It's something that actually didn't happen, because in reality what happened was we started the work without considering the case that we could end up having a problem that we cannot find the proper place for farm placement. We did this mistake, right? So honestly, I was hoping that that case happened, but I didn't know if on that place there was a real farm, there was a soil or not. But I'm personally happy that case happened, because of that now I can explain this. And you see in previous video you could see how we try to find a solution and propose a solution. And in this video I'm going to discuss about the risk management, and you will see how risk management can help you to prevent these cases. Okay, so now Let's say you performed WBS like everything you had so far, and you identified the task. Your resource are available, and you discuss with your resource. Okay, then when you do the gathering with from your team, from your experts, especially for those people that have experience of handling this task in previous projects, or if you have a document from similar projects that happened before, uh, the thing that you normally should do is to try to identify possible risks, right? So here, let me, and normally we call it the risk log. Let me add a paper like this. Okay, let me make it bigger, right? And 12 small. Okay, risk log. Okay, so let's see what we can have in this doc. Maybe it would be better if I can create a table. Let me see if there is any option to create a table. Frame, no. Table, nice. I'm honestly, oh, timeline as well. Beautiful too. It's still on beta, but let me use it. Let's see how does it looks like. Okay, let me call this table risk log. Okay. Let me delete this, and delete this one. Okay, we are going to rename all these, right? We are not, but before starting the to make this table as a risk log, very simple risk log, let's start with the definition of the risk. What does it mean? Risk basically is something that you are not, some uncertainty that is going to happen. It's not happened yet. It may happen, and it can have a positive or negative impact on you, on your project, right? In our case, in our project, what we could do was to arrange a very beautiful brainstorm with all these experts, all these dwarfs, and try to identify the possible risk that exists in our project. For example, if I remember correctly, we have a planter, right? We have a planter. Oh, let me check our lovely dwarf. Yes. We have Feb. Feb is our planter. Maybe we could, for farm, we could ask, dear Feb, do you know how you are the expert on planting plants, right? Could you please help us? What could be the risk for creating farm in our fortress? We could explain that if you try to dig into the mountain for the fortress, you need to make sure that you have soil or mud. Okay, if you knew this one, if you were aware of this point a little bit earlier, you could include it in your plan. How? You could consider it as a risk. The risk for you was, let me change this. Can I change the titles? Edit field, right? Title as risk name, right? Let me put it as risk name, and let me type farm farm place. Find a suitable place to set up farm, soil or mud, right? Or better, not be able to find. Maybe in this way it will be more, it will be a proper description. our risk in this project was not be able to find suitable place to set up farm, soil or mud, right? A status at the time of plan. Remember, we use time machine. Let me find the time machine. Time machine. Let me find the time machine. This one. I think this one is from TV series. I don't remember. Is it the one similar to Big Bang Theory, the TV series? Sheldon Cooper, I guess. I'm gonna use this one. It's nice. As I said, we use time machine, return back to see how we could use risk management to prevent the issue of fire, right? Or prevent or mitigate. Now, at that time, that, remember, we are still in the planning. We didn't even start the actual phase of project. We didn't dig anything, right? We are at the planning phase. So the status of this risk is I don't like this one. Let me edit the fields. For example, the risk can be not happened. Okay, I'm just giving a name. Happened or inactive, maybe inactive. Okay, or not required. Never mind. It's not really important. We just need to know a status for that risk. Yeah, and each person can find different status based on their needs. Okay, color and okay, the status. Then let me add a concept as impact. The value is not how can I use multiple choice? The status. It was a field. Is it possible to change the type? How you can change the type? Not sure. I'm not sure. Let me delete this one. Let me also delete this one. Let me add. Okay, now I can have option impact. Let me put impact. I will explain what does it mean impact. And then maybe low, medium, high, right? Low, maybe put it green, medium, red, high. Okay, nice. Then I'm going to add another one, probability. Okay, I'm adding an option. Again, low, green again, medium, red, high, right? High. Then let me add the how can I risk value? So we have 3 by 3, so we can have 9, right? No, let me draw it maybe. So wait, we can add it one by one, but let's start with this. The status is clear. You just want to know if the risk is active or inactive, right? What I put here, not happened or happened. or you can say, because it's, let me rename it to active or inactive. Active, it's better, because when the risk happen, then you have an issue. It's not risk anymore. Active or inactive. If it's active is red, if it's inactive is green. Like similar to a volcano, if it's active or inactive, right? So now back to the fundamental concept of the risk. As I said, a risk is it's uncertainty about an event for future. So this is a very basic and important concept. Risk is equal to impact multiply by probability. Okay. Before I'm going to go deep on this point, let me clarify something. We have two types of risk analysis. We have quantitative risk analysis and we have qualitative risk analysis. Quantitative risk analysis, it involved with identifying the probability equations. You need to do mathematics, you need to know statistics to calculate the risk value, and it's require huge effort and huge work. What happened normally in the project management is qualitative risk management analysis. You perform qualitative risk analysis, and to perform qualitative risk analysis, you use these scales for impact and probability. Here I put only 3, right? Here I only put 3: low, medium, high. You can increase basically the number of scale to low, very low, medium, high, very high. Okay, but here, just to make it simple, I use 3 scale: low, medium, high. And you should understand that we have impact and we have probability. Impact basically is when the risk happened, how much is the impact of that risk? How much that risk will impact on your project, okay? And the impact can be positive or negative, okay? Probability is the probability of the event, right? How much is the probability? How much is the value of the probability for that event? You need to say, for example, let's assume we are in the middle of the summer, right? In the middle of the summer, very hot summer, right? And you are sitting, you want to go out. You want to go out to buy, I don't know, to do the grocery, right? To do the grocery, your grocery, you want to go out and buy some stuff from market and come back, right? Let's say before going out, you tell yourself, okay, there is a risk that when I'm going out, weather change and I end up facing a big rain. I'm getting wet and all my grocery stuff also impacted, right? Damaged, right? So in this case, your risk is raining, right? In being catched in the raining, right? It's the risk that you expect. You think it can happen, right? So, but you, as I said, you are in the middle of the very hot summer. Although the impact for you is high, right? Because you know that you're going out without umbrella, without the proper clothes, because the weather is hot. You're in the middle of the summer, but the probability of this event is low, or we can say very low. It's very low that you go out in the summer and you end up facing heavy rain, right? Well, it depends where you are living, but let's assume that if you are living in a place that you rarely see, or you never seen rain in the summer, so the probability of this event for you is very low. So the risk value for you is not high. But let's say you are in the middle of the winter and you are living in a city that's every 2 days, every 3 days, you end up facing rain. So in that case, not only the impact is high, the probability also is high, right? So, but how did you calculate, for example, for the case of rain, summer, how did you calculate the impact and probability? You didn't calculate the impact and probability in a quantitative method. You basically, what you used was a qualitative method, right? So when you have impact and probability for your risk, when you identify it, for example, in this case, in our case, you may say, we are in the mountain, we try to dig into the mountain, and on first floor we want to find a place that has soil or mud. Based on your experience, based on the information that you received from your lovely dwarfs, you may say no. The impact, the probability. First, let me talk about the probability. The probability is very high, or medium. Let's say medium. Let's you discuss internally and say, no, we had many cases that we dig into the mountain and we end up having a lot of mud or soil. So, and also we have let me check if we have a river around. Let me check. In our case, yeah, see, look at, we have a lot of rivers, we have water here, also we have underground water, see in the minimap. So you may say we cannot say the probability of this case is high, it's medium, right? But the impact is huge. If you cannot find a place on first floor to create farm, the impact is high, because it's a requirement that customer will not accept, right? Let me add another risk just in case of another risk. Face river, okay, and the risk is not be able to dig into second floor because of facing river, okay. So in this case you say no, it's the probability is not high, it's very low. It's although we have a river outside of the mountain, but facing the river inside of the mountain, we believe the probability is low. Anyway, it's kind of expert judgment, right? You are gathering this information from your people, your team, or maybe you have a consultant, you have access to some people with much more experience, and they may say no, it's very low, it's medium. Anyway, you have this information, and based on that you say low, and the impact here is not high, is medium. Because if you cannot, let's say here, let's say here, when you try to dig in more here, there was a river here, right? You could you say, okay, it's fine, and that place there is a river, I'm trying to dig more here, right? I'm here, then I'm using this space to go down and just escape the river, okay? So the impact is not high as the farm issue. Impact is a little bit low. I can't say the impact is low. Still there is impact, but impact is not really high, because you can just shift a little bit, try dig from another place and just pass through the river, right? So let me put medium now, and let's say this risk is active, right? So when you calculated this, then you have, we call it's like a matrix. Let me draw it here. and the beautiful, yeah, right, this. Let me draw something nice here. It's like a matrix. Let me put like this, then like this. Okay. Now let's say this is impact, and here I have probability, right? Lovely. Here I have high, okay, this is high for probability. Then I'm having a medium, right? It's not limited only to 3 scale, you can use multiple 5, 7 or whatever based on what you need, but just to make it simple I use 3 scale, low, medium, high. Low, right? Then let's say if probability is low and the impact is low, you're going to give a categorical score like 1, right? If probability is medium, impact is low, you are going to give a score like 3, let's say 3, okay? And do the same for impact, because if impact is medium and probability is low, it's similar to probability is medium or impact is medium, but it's not a 4. You can use other score value, it's up to you, right? If both of them medium, maybe I'm going to give 5, right? Giving a score 5. Then if it's high here, let me give maybe 7. Here also I'm giving a score 7. Then for the case that probability is medium, impact is high, I'm going to give a score 10, right? For this one is also 10, and for this one, when the probability is high, impact is high, I'm going to give a risk score as 15, right? And it's not a bad idea also to use color. I'm not sure how can I fill this here, but normally you can use a color to make it, for example, this one green. This one normally put green on this section, and they are going to fill this part with red. Maybe draw a line. This one is red, and this one is green. Maybe still these are also red, okay? And maybe these are can be yellow, and maybe it depends your approach to deal with risk. Maybe you say these also should be yellow, okay? Or let's put it green. Okay, now how does it help you? Because the next step for you, once you identified your risk identified, right? You calculated, you specified the impact and probability for each risk. Then you design these metrics. Now you have to decide what you want to do with those risk values above 7. Right? You need to make a decision. And what you need to do with the risk between 10 and 3, and what you want to do with the risk with a score below 3, right? Because you can categorize, now you can categorize your risk. Now let me add another field here, so then we can discuss about risk response, because now you need to have risk response. Risk response, we have 4 type of response. One is, I'm going to consider both positive and negative, because normally they are separated, but one approach to deal with a risk is avoid. If it's negative, normally they call it avoid strategy. If it's positive, they call it explode, right? I will explain you later. Let me just finish the list. Another strategy here is mitigate, okay? Or if it's negative, mitigate. If it's positive, enhance. Another risk strategy is transfer, okay? And let me Google if it's positive. I don't remember the name. You can avoid, you can mitigate, you can transfer. Let me Google it. Risk response strategies based on PMBOK. And let me ask AI. Okay, avoid, transfer, accept. The missing one is accept. If it's threat, basically negative risk. If it's positive or opportunity, exploit, share, enhance, accept. Okay, so I didn't make a mistake or it didn't save. Risk response. So we had what was it? Avoid, exploit. Then we had mitigate, right? Then we have mitigate or enhance in case of positive. You can have a separate field and use it based on the type of risk, if it's positive, if it's threat or opportunity. But here I'm just using, I don't want to make it complex. I just want to use one field. If it's the risk is positive, you can we know that which one we need to consider. And transfer, I forgot the other one. Accept. Okay, let me add. Then now I think I can edit, right? What was the transfer? Share. Right, here is share, enhance, accept. Okay, so here let me edit again. Share. Let me explain what is the meaning of these responses. Okay, let's say you perform this calculation. Now you have the risk score, and let me add another field, risk score maybe. risk score, right? The risk score can be edit 1, right? 3, 5, 7, 10, 15. I don't want to change the color, let it as it is. So the first risk we had, based on the score, a score should be 10, right? And the second risk is medium low, so a score is 3. Now, based on the risk score, we need to decide what would be our risk response strategy, right? So for the first one, you may say you can select, although as you know, both of them are negative threat to your project. We have one strategy is avoid, and avoid means you need to implement a solution to make sure that this risk is not going to happen. Okay, normally to avoid a risk you need to increase your cost. You need to spend more time, you need to increase your cost. Normally this is the case, because to avoid a risk, to make sure that this risk is not going to happen at all, you need to do something. In our case, maybe instead of blindly pick a place, dig into the mountain and assuming that that place should be the place for the farm, maybe it was easier. For example, you ask your dwarf to dig with small corridor, go down a little bit and see if on second floor, first floor there is mud, soil or not. Trying to dig multiple different places to see if there is a mud or soil or not, and then based on finding the soil in the mountain, try to continue the exploration and construction of the fortress, right? But to do that, it means it has an impact on the first part, which is, if you remember the first task, find a place for entrance. Remember, our original plan was 2 days, but now if you want to apply this strategy, that try to find the location that to make sure there is a soil and mud, you have to spend 20 days. And these 20 days, it means you have to do try and error and try to see if you can find the soil or not. And at the end, it's possible that you cannot find it, right? So you say, okay, if I want to avoid this strategy, it requires a lot of cost for us. It requires a lot of effort. Even the sub-customer may not accept that, right? So you need to make sure your risk response strategy is going to affect you with the cost and the time, right? Even in some case, maybe it's not even possible to avoid the risk. If we move back to the example of the raining, to avoid the rain, maybe you say, okay, I am not going to buy grocery today because I think today is we are going to have a rain, right? I'm going to avoid it, not going for grocery today, and pick another day to go for grocery, to buy grocery. So this is the avoid. And if it was positive, by exploit, it means you do everything in your hand to make sure that that's positive or opportunity, make sure it happen. It's exactly opposite of the avoid, right? Mitigate. When we are discussing about the mitigate, you can have the mitigate strategy if you try to reduce the impact or reduce the probability. If you do something that you can reduce the impact and reduce the probability, then it is basically a mitigate strategy for you. In our case, maybe we could propose uh, having farm outside, temporary farm outside, uh, and if the customer would be able to accept it, then you could, then you, basically, you kind of you had a mitigation for yourself, because you planned in advance for that solution. There was no need for you then to try to dig a lot of time inside of the floor one, and again going back and discuss with the customer for that alternative. You could plan it, you could see this risk, you could come up with a mitigation and say, dear customer, I know this is important for you, but this risk exists, and the impact is high, the probability is medium. To mitigate this risk, our suggestion is to have a temporary farm, okay? And we can, as soon as we reach the first floor, if we see that there is the place that we are digging, there is no soil, we can immediately start working on this solution to mitigate the impact, right? So that's the mitigate strategy in risk. And although the difference with what is happened in our case, in what happened in our case was we dig into the mountain, right? And we end up facing this problem with surprise. Then we try to dig here, go up, go left, try to check here if they to try to find the soil. And all these times you could simply, without arguing, without fighting with subscribers and customer, you could just follow your plan B, temporary plan, and there was no headache, there was no need to fight with the customer, and you could just report them that, guys, this risk happened, and based on our initial agreement we follow this response for this section, right? Very clean. They are aware of that, you are aware of that, and also it couldn't it is not creating much unsatisfaction, right? Basically, that's kind of a professional way to deal with these situations. Another strategy that you have is transfer. Transfer is kind of buying insurance for yourself. Transfer means in your project, maybe you identify this risk and say, dear customer, I cannot accept the risk of not having a proper place for farm. You do your research, you find a place, and you tell me where exactly you want to create your fortress. I do not accept this risk. I don't want to put this responsibility on my side. And by this strategy, you push everything on customer side, and you are pushing this risk on customer side. So now customer is responsible to find a place and tell you where exactly you need to dig, and they have to make sure that there is a place for their farm. And when you try to create a fortress and you end up that there is no farm for you, then you already provided the required defense to defend yourself for this case. You protected yourself, you protected your project for this risk. And now customer cannot claim, cannot put fine or penalty on you, and you just follow your plan, right? And customer should accept the alternative solutions now. Whatever solution you provide, they need to accept it, because it was their responsibility to find a proper place for you to dig and create a fortress, right? And the last one is accept. Accept normally say, this risk is, the probability is low, the impact is low, I don't care if it's happened or not, just let it be here. If it happened, we will see how we can deal with it. most probably it will not happen, so I don't want to bother myself, I don't want to bother anyone. The impact is low, the chance is low. Just have it in your list, monitor it, but leave it as it is. Okay, maybe for this score 3, you say, okay, for low value risk score, I'm going to accept the strategy. For this one, I'm going to mitigate the strategy. Okay, and based on that, you need to specify the require actions. You need to specify what exactly you need to do or who should do, and accordingly you need to update your project plan, right? I try to explain you the basic concept, very basic fundamental concept of project risk management and how it can happen. So what I'm telling here is, if you had experience of this situation, okay, this farm issue, you could identify this risk and you could plan for it in advance, right? And there was no problem for you and no drama here, right? But as you can see, this case didn't happen, right? If you, in our actual use case, we were not ready for this situation, and this case happened, and we end up spending more time to search. We end up trying to find a solution, discussion with the customer, fight with the customer, increasing the unsatisfaction with the customer, and it wasn't actually good. But if we could predict this risk, and if we could provide the proper risk plan and implement it on our project plan, it was much better for us. Okay, this is a very, very important concept, which is risk management in project risk management, and how project risk management is impacting on project initial project plan. I discussed this point a little bit in my other series on YouTube, which was Project Management 101. You can refer to that one. And let me see if I can open it here. Let me show you where exactly I was discussing about these points. And yeah, here on session 3, when I was talking about the accuracy of the plan and planning, if you remember, there was a section for project risk management, how project risk management you could use to update your initial project plan and increase the accuracy of your project plan. Okay, it's good if you can try to just watch this video on session 3 from other series, because it's linked to the case we have here. And I think we are good for this session. And unfortunately we didn't continue our game basically in Dwarf Fortress, but I thought it's really, really important that I hold at this step and try to explain you the importance of risk management and show you how could risk management could prevent the problem of the farm, right? And I'm really, really happy that this case happened for us. And by the way, I didn't go in deep for project risk management. I may try to record a separate video later on, another series, and specifically to discuss about risk management. Here I try to explain it a very simple, very basic fundamental, but I hope you got it. I hope I hope you I because my intention was to transfer these concepts to you, and I hope I did it properly. And if you have any question, drop it on the comments. And I think we are good to go for next session. We assume that this case not happened, because if you remember at the beginning I said we're gonna buy a time machine, this lovely time machine, move back in a time that still we are planning, and we identify the risk and plan for it, right? But this, as you know, this case didn't happen, and what is happened in reality is we try to dig blindly and we end up with a problem that there is there is basically no place for farm to drop on floor 1, and we end up having this temporary solution to build a farm on the first ground. Okay, thank you and have a good day.